that brings me to my today's talk. This picture is quite familiar to us. When we were in our 5th standard, we were taught the left side picture. In Marathi, it was called as Manavachi Utkranti, Darwin's principles. And that confirmed that our forefathers were apes, and therefore we'll still continue monkeying around even today. But then by the time I came to medical college, this changed into the new one. That yes, you stood up from a crouching position. You had machine tools in your hand in place of wooden and iron instruments. And the next step, that you were again sitting down and crouching in front of a machine, which also changed in its generations to become as small as a pocket phone. And that's the evolution of the modern man. So there was wisdom in every wonder. Man felt every new thing as a wonder. When he first invented a circular wheel that could be rotated and moved ahead, he felt it is wonder. Today, it's a part of life for us. So Socrates very rightly said, wisdom begins in wonder. But he rightly uses the word wisdom and not intelligence. And the two things are different, because today I'm going to speak much on the intelligence artificially incultivated in all of us. But I am going to remind you again and again that when we acquire intelligence, we will not let go wisdom. That is the most important essence of today's talk. There's a story behind this slide. As you can see on the left-hand side, there is an assembly line. This used to be the picture of any industry when it started with Henry Ford. When the Model T was being made as an automobile, for the first time designed assembly lines like this, when the entire project was broken down into tasks, and the tasks were assigned to specific people, and then people do it in rows. This was somewhere around 1930s. Came around 60s, 70s, and slowly this particular line got replaced by a small machine. That's all that we know of AutoCAD and various types of designing modules available today in our tiny computers. What's the future? An industry appointed where there used to be a barrage of people, a laptop to do the work, a human being to make sure that a computer is not making a mistake, and a ferocious Rottweiler to confirm that the man does not touch the computer at all. That's the scenario today of our work profiles. So, any industry, whether it is health sector, pharma, drug making, or anything, has several components. We have an industry which is making, we have machines and tools, we have human resource, which is the most difficult part of management, and we have machine tools, humans, and technology being integrated. So for a manager or a proprietor, it's always a confusing game as to how to strike the right balance. The scene is evolving. It is at times a frightening scene. But can we tie a blindfold on our eyes like Draupadi and I say that, oh, the reality just does not exist? It cannot be done. Denial is not an option. Prudent acceptance is the key. Prudent is a legal word. Prudent means wise. We have to accept that things are going to change. In fact, when we were coming up, Gulshan said me, sir, give one-liners. One of the most important one-liner that each one of you must have in your mind is change is the only constant thing in life. I learned my surgery, pediatric surgery, in 1987 in KEM hospital. My last operation I have done today morning at 7 a.m. when I operated a 1-month-old child in Kaushalya. But the way I operate today is not the technique that I learned in 1987, but something that evolved in 2005. So if I don't change, I will be made obsolete. Patients will not come to me. So second one-liner is working in any industry has to be like pedaling a bicycle. If you stop pedaling, you fall. So therefore, prudence acceptance is the key. And this last point I learned from the great scientist Padma Vibhushan Mashelkar. And he elaborated that to me. He said, Sanjay, this is Mahatma Gandhian principle. Do the greater good from lesser investments. This is something like a Mahatma Gandhi saying to us. It's a vast country. Mumbai, Pune, Nagpur, Aurangabad is nothing. You have to go up to Gadhinglas, Gadchiroli and so many other things. When I led Maharashtra State COVID Task Force in last 3 years, this is what we pursued. That the messages and healthcare has to go into the interiors and supra-tertiary levels of Tier 3 cities. When she told about my current work profile, when I act as a project management consultant, people approach me that, sir, we have funds. This is our idea. Build a hospital for us. And then it starts from a drawing board. And finally, it comes into a building and the processes that we set up. So Tier 1 city was Thane when the new wing of Kaushalya Hospital, which is just 2 kilometers away from the spot where we are in, was constructed and amalgamated into the old one. When something changes, it's not just the brick and mortar. It is the work ethos, the principles and the execution. So when Parel Chemist changed into wellness, or when nursing home practice changes into Ushakka Labhinov Institute of Medical Sciences, it's just not the brick and mortar, but it is the way we execute our concepts and healthcare. That is what matters. So therefore, we must feel that we'll make prudent investments. Nobody has unsurmountable money to put into it. We have limited money. And we should execute in such a manner that we will reach far and wide. So we will invest less for greater good and we will get still greater returns. That has to be the principle in whatever project we do. So comes the region of artificial intelligence. To tell you honestly, I hate this word artificial intelligence. I feel this is assisted intelligence. Unless and until I think some ideas whirlpool in my brain, my colleagues, and we work together, design a protocol, the machine itself does not know it. But nonetheless, this is the most popular terminology across the world today. So let's dare the AI. Let's accept it. Let's take it as a challenge. We will do it. And the next 25-30 minutes, I'm going to talk about the retail pharmacy world and how the AI is going to influence it and what will be your role in it. But as a doctor, as a surgeon for 40 years, I precisely completed 40 years since I started operating on 1st of July 1983 in Meerut. I feel that in doing all this progress, the humanity should not go for a toss. I've had experiences, Mohan knows about it. When a woman comes to KEM Dean's office and says, sir, Mangal Sutra is the only thing remaining now. I can't afford the drugs. Take this, receive my husband. I pick up a phone, talk to Mohan, and I say, Mohan, I'm sending this lady to you. Help her, but both of us will see to it that her Mangalsutra remains in the place where it is supposed to be. And this lady, when she goes back after 8 days, comes with her husband, walking with a stick to the dean's office and says, "Sir, thank you very much." That is humanity. So whatever progress we might do, we should never forget that we exist for a common man in the street. Now, if I ask you that all of you are using artificial intelligence, only thing is that we don't think that this is AI. So let me give you some common examples. How many of you are having Apple phones? You know, pharma sector can afford. Barobar hai, actually. i15? Gulshan, i15? Come on.
Old one, very.
Achha, because otherwise there are crazy guys who keep on changing their Apple iPhones the minute the Apple company puts it on. So the last one is, I think, Apple i15. That's what I heard. That's okay. What is the software in it? It's called as Siri. And that Siri software, which is within Apple iPhone, is a classic example of artificial intelligence that you and me are having in our hand. Alexa, you know, my grandson, which is the apple of my eyes actually, is a student in Singhania now, goes in senior nursery now. But when he started standing up, he used to crawl in the hall. There was that Alexa kept there, and he said, "Alexa, Jack and Jill." So a 9 months old who even cannot pronounce Alexa properly is using artificial intelligence. What is Alexa? That is artificial intelligence. Tesla or whatever new car Gulshan might be having, you know, the navigation that we use, and that lady who at times gets to your nerves, "Daye mudiye, I'm like, nahi mudna hai, daye." But she bloody eats your brains out. What is that navigation? It is artificial intelligence. So why these examples? In common life, we are actually using it without understanding it. So in today's talk, with respect to retail pharmacy, let's understand what is artificial intelligence, how does it work, how will it impact my day-to-day performance, and how can I mold it to my benefits and my practical use. So this is a book definition. It's a system. It's a system based in a machine. So it's a machine-based system for a given set of human-defined objectives. We first define what we want out of it. So the objectives are defined. Then the system makes predictions. A option, B option, C option, D option. It evaluates them. Then it makes a recommendation to you. You know, when you are navigating a path and when you give a destination, it says it will take 90 minutes and it adds a sentence, but this is the shortest and the swiftest pathway available to your proposed destination. So it has evaluated the options and then it is making you a recommendation. And this then influences your decision making. This is artificial intelligence. As we all heard, the navigation system. You know, the cars are so beautifully designed now that you sit or you step inside a MG Hector or a MG Gloucester and it says, "Hi Mohan, good morning. Hope you had a good day." Even though you might have had the worst possible day. Its intelligence is only that. But it will welcome you in the car. Those of you who say, "Sir, idhar gaadi hai, abhi tak to utna nahi hai, two-wheeler pe hi chala hai," you sometimes call for an Uber auto. And what is that Uber auto? How the Uber auto actually responds to your call? Using artificial intelligence. So what does AI do? Now these are the principles. It collects big data. Now this big word is very important. How big is it? It's gigabytes. Several hundred thousands of gigabytes of data. Let's apply it to health sector. You know what is the most important commodity for a hospital? It is the patient records. Now, Kaushalya is a paperless hospital. There are no papers. Everything is in a software driven. We see the patients, we write the notes, the follow-up notes, nursing prescriptions, orders given, medicines dispensed, surgical notes, intraoperative photographs, everything is on an iPad. And before I introduced this about 3 years back, believe me, we have hired godowns in Bhiwandi to store the paper records. All that is gone. It's all somewhere in the cloud. And all the fears, what were the fears and resistance by medical profession? Sir, time pe milega nahi. It bloody takes less than half a minute to get a record of a patient who was 3 years back seen, admitted or consulted. That's one. So the space is much less, stored somewhere. So comes the immediate next thing. Sir, secrecy nahi रहेगी, कोई और यूज करेगा. वो कौन यूज करेगा? सर, कोई तो फार्मा यूज करेगी. It's a fact. That is that big data. When you collect it, when you collate it from multiple units, from multiple hospitals, AI intelligence systems collects big data. Then what does it do? It analyzes it. Like suppose Mohan or Gulshan tells you कि बॉस ये अपना पीरियड में अपने पैटर्न्स क्या थे, प्रिस्क्रिप्शन के हैबिट्स क्या थे, कौन सी ड्रग्स फास्ट मूविंग आइटम्स में थी, ये निकालो. व्हाट विल यू डू? यू विल सिट विद द डेटा. You will ask your junior to help you out and your mind will get blown out. साला इतना सब देखने का? And then you will start applying some analytical tools. It's like a CU. कि जो actually जिसका फायदा है, useful things है, that only will get distilled. That is analysis of the data. Then it makes some algorithms. Boss, X होगा तो Y होता है और Y के बाद में Z निकल के आता है. These are the algorithms. Now, this is the next step in artificial intelligence. Things are not constant. As we said, change is the only constant thing. So similarly, algorithm which has been drawn also cannot remain constant. It also has to evolve, change. So that comes a step of adaptive algorithms. It goes on changing as per the need of the data available and the need of the query that has been floated to you. So then some patterns उभर के आते हैं. So it studies the patterns. Then it starts making predictions. कि बॉस ये पेशेंट में ये होने की संभावना है. That is a prediction. Then it makes recommendation that influences your decision making. And the fun of the system is all these things are autonomous. These are the steps of any artificial intelligence system that you have got. Now, what are the skepticism? अपने देश में या कहीं भी criticism come first. ए बॉस, it will replace the human beings. मेरा जॉब चला जाएगा. 10 लोगों के जगह एक ही आदमी बैठेगा. ये तो स्मार्टर है ये अपने से. It will eliminate the human race and destroy us. One day it will be having a very destructive approach. Now, why do we need it still? These are the points on our side. We as human beings are fallible. We make mistakes. One of the books, as she mentioned, I've written about 53 books in Marathi and English. One of the books is titled as Manus Chuka Ka Karto. Why do mistakes and human err? There are about 14 chapters in that book, and each chapter covers a global incidents like Chernobyl, like the spacecraft getting destructed, like 26 July 2005 rains in Mumbai. And I have analyzed that, and you will be surprised to know that every catastrophe had a human element at its base. Sometimes it was envy, sometimes it was competitive getting back or getting against someone. Sometimes it was a fixation error. Sometimes it was inadequate knowledge. Sometimes it is carelessness. And sometimes it is carelessness. So, human error is something that AI takes out. Situational awareness by those adaptive mechanisms. Limits of performance. However good and bright we might be, there will be limited performance. So the decision making will get influenced. We may fall short in communications. Communications to whom? Communication to the patients, communication to the relatives, communication to backward office inside, and finally to the people who make policies of drug making and distribution. And then obviously leadership, motivation, in all these things, AI is required to help us. How do we classify these systems? There is something called as artificial narrow intelligence, ANI. What are the examples? The system is designed and trained to perform a narrow task, a small activity, such as facial recognition. So many offices, when you come, this thing is gone. You just stand in front and the doors open. So that facial recognition, or driving a car. Most of these modern cars, in a tight space, you put it in a reverse gear and tell them to car reverses and parks itself wonderfully. That's a narrow space intelligence artificial. Playing a chase with you and even traffic signals. These are the examples of a narrow system. This is already in existence and put into practice. Now comes the next level. That is human level. It can simplify human intellectual abilities. Due to this, when it is exposed to an unfamiliar task, it can find the solution and it can perform all the things as a human does. At some levels in the scientific arena, this has been started. And the third is a super intelligence, like in NASA or other things. It's a brain power which more than active smart humans in drawing, mathematics and space technology. What are the types of this technology? One is a reactive machine. The IBM chess program, as you say. Limited memory, like autonomous vehicles. If you change a lane, the car draws itself back into the proper lane. But the third and fourth are not yet in existence when the machine will apply theory of mind. And the fourth level, when the machine will have its own self level of awareness. And then if you try to change, a human being trying to change it, it will deny that. These 3 and 4 are yet non-existing, but things will evolve. Now let's keep this aside and let's look at retail pharmacy. I had given a lecture in our hotel about 7-8 months back when I had said the role of pharmacist, the role of all of you is evolving. You are no more Sahab Neeli Pili or Kali Goli Dena. No, this is gone. You are an ambassador of the healthcare messages at the final end where you will interact with the client. That is your role. So human communication, humble counseling, ensuring the compliance. This is the most important role that I expect of you. Monitoring the drug consumption behavior. ये 2 नंबर के लेन में रहने वाला चाचा कौन सी ड्रग्स क्या फ्रीक्वेंसी में लेता है, दैट इज हिज कंजम्पशन एंड बाइंग बिहेवियर. नोटिंग द साइड इफेक्ट. साहब वो पीली गोली खाने के बाद मुझे खुजवा होने लगी. ही विल टॉक टू यू, नोटिंग दो साइड इफेक्ट्स. कंसिडरिंग देन द अल्टरनेटिव्स. फार्मा मॉलिक्यूल वही है, शायद ये दे के देखूं, दैट विल बी बेनिफिशियल टू हिम. Then on a larger scale, assessing the community needs. And if you remember, one of my slides I had put it up in that talk was the role that should emerge in India is of a community pharmacist. Assessing the community needs and thereby influencing people who make the policy decisions of drug sciences. Can AI help you as pharmacist? Yes. You can rely on AI to make well-informed decisions and prevent medication errors. There is no denial that medication errors do happen. They happen at the level of doctors. They happen by irrational drug combinations, side effects, giving at times prescribing drugs which are not allowed in that particular age and weight group, and some similarity in the names by 2 pharmaceuticals that all of us have gone through. So AI can help you in making decisions. It can also help clinical pharmacy in drug therapy optimization. I happened to go through, when I was preparing this talk, I happened to go through the pharmacy retail market of India 2018 to 2023 report. This is the latest report of last 5 years. And just look at the important markers that this report highlights. It says healthcare is rapidly shifting to convenient and accessible retail healthcare locations, and pharmacies are at the forefront of the transformation. I think this sentence should make all of you happy. We never thought of drugs being given on a petrol pump, but that's a reality today. We never thought of drugs, common drugs being sold at grocers, but that's a reality today. So something that is convenient and accessible, and you are at the forefront, and it puts the next important word, the pharmacy practice model is evolving to be more service-oriented. It's a service sector now, and that is the most important change. So pharmacists are now taking over of a mid-level provider role on the healthcare team. I cannot put a medical professional in every nook and corner. When the COVID was on, the Maharashtra Pharmacist Association requested for a talk. And then there was a cross-sectional dialogue. And I said that in the world over, various healthcare professionals, and that included physiotherapists, occupational therapists, pharmacists, lab technicians, being roped in to give the much needed health care. Why? Because the doctors were less in number and supplies. And therefore, pharmacists are now taking over the mid-level provider role on the healthcare platform. Now, this is the most beloved slide of mine, because this is India. This is India. I worked in Mumbai for 40 years, but since 2012, after I left corporation, on every Sunday, I go and operate small children completely free in various districts, sub-district places of Maharashtra. So I end up operating at Shahapur, Alibag, Panvel, Kudal, Vada Mokhada, Ratnagiri, and at times Ulhasnagar and few other invitations. Now we have teams, and on an average in 1 year, I end up doing about 700 to 1000 operations on Sundays completely free. So, I believe in one sentence. In Marathi, let me tell you, few years back when I was the Dean of KM, there was a conclave held like this in Marriott. And all, Vocard, at that time it was Vocard and Fortis and Hinduja, and everybody was trying to tell ki, our packages are very economical. A middle-level person's pocket is not taxed too much because of that. When my turn came, I said, I represent that class of society who does not have pocket to his shirt at all. But in the last 10 years, dear friends, having worked at tribal levels, who come to you only with a loincloth, nothing on their body, and you operate them, I want to redesign my sentence. And I say, I am a healthcare activist and surgeon and representative for that class of society which does not have a shirt at all. That's the reality of life. And that's the reality depicted here. This is a common picture at a taluka, at a sub-taluka place, where the Abba goes and asks, Pet kharab hua hai, sahab, gulgi dena. Then you have to do all the possible role of diagnosis, evaluation, assessing his age, possible toxic effects that it will have, and you are prescribing. So you are that middle-level healthcare manager for him, and it's a community practice. And don't think that this is required or happening in India. Last time in my last lecture, I had a slide that there is an American experiment done in a place called Rockville, if I'm not forgetting something. that article is still there, where community practice role was put into action. And look into our country, tuberculosis, filariasis, ORS depletion, so many indications we will find. How could we control COVID? We could have had drones to dispense the drugs and vaccines, but we needed people to put behind and approach right that corner house in the last Wada or Mokhada that we had. That is community pharmacy role, where we can put AI into action. Last few years have seen this, that even a chacha in a village will have a credit or a debit card, which is a chip enabled. Now, practically a machiwali and even a raddiwala and nimbuwala will also sit with a QR code. I picked up a slide, I thought it's not appropriate, so I deleted that. But believe me, if you Google, in Bihar, outside a temple sits a beggar with a QR code in his neck. And he says, आपके पास चेंज नहीं है, कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं है सर. मैं चेंज हो गया. नहीं, मैं चेंज हो गया हूं और आप QR कोड यूज करें. And this is a reality. So this has to be kept in mind when we evolve our practices, because empowering the deprived ones is something that is required in the health sector. Compliance options is an issue. That's a universal issue, not only for villages, not only for those who don't have money, but even for those who have everything in life and next door staying in a mansion also. नाही, थोडं बरं वाटल्यावरती मी बंद केलं. अरे कोण सांगितलं तुला? Compliance issue. So all these things, options and compliance and non-adherence can be studied using AI at your level of retail distribution. I will say, sir, hospital मध्ये काय फरक पडतो? And I'll give you a practical example. This is Ushakal Abhinav Institute of Medical Sciences, of which I am a founder and director, and where wellness is our partner. We have a beautiful pharmacy. Those of you who have visited Sangli, it's Kavalji's making, and I'm so proud of that. Bhaiya ji will come back. Sahab, खाना खाने के पहले लेने का कि बादन लेने का? भैया जी, खाना खाने के बादन लेने का. साहब, पानी उबाल के लेने का कि ठंडा लेने का? भैया कैसा भी ले लो, पानी के साथ ले लो. साहब, मैं लेने का या लुगाई को देने का? Now, why this happens? Because it's not his fault. It's not his fault. Bhaias are the most talented community. You know, they will explain you how to do the business. I have great regards and respect for them. We fail. We fail in communicating. The minute we feel that top level doctors and इसको क्या समझता है, वो पेशेंट बोलता है अभी तो नहीं समझता, 3 महीने बाद कोर्ट में समझाता हूँ. So spend time. When you hand over a packet, please spend time explaining कि ये क्या है, किस चीज के लिए है और किसके साथ लेना है. Then there are billing errors. Now, why do the billing errors happen? Incorrect codes. Posting गलत हुआ है. Commonest thing in hospital pharmacy. Lack of monitoring. देखा नहीं है किसी ने. Third thing, not following professional mandates given, standards given. And fourth, inconsistency in the use of billing authorities. But how it influences the hospital? Billing के जो problems है, they eventually reflect into the reimbursement. See, in Sangli today, about 80% business is cash. 15-20 is insurance. In Mumbai, in Kaushalya, 90% business is insurance. Just 10% is remaining with the out-of-cash expenses. Now, when you have a third party which is going to assess your billing with a hawk's eye, you should not make mistake. And there, AI will help you in making hospital-based pharmacy more effective and efficient. So, in the retail sector, where all AI can help you, customized customer experiences. Then you can have robotic personal assistants that he will go get it from the proper place of the cupboard and come back to you. Demand forecasting, that ये महीने में ये सेक्टर से ये डिमांड आने वाली है. Come monsoon seasons and we are going to need Ciplox, Metrogyl, all various things. So demand forecasting, merchandising, planning, automated inventory management. See, today we have a sprawling Bhiwandi hub where we are storing it. 10 years down the line, maybe we will not need it. We will need it just half the size of that or a quarter size of that, because the inventory will be controlled with the help of AI. Sensors that track the customer traffic, electronic shelf labels adapts to the audience. This is something which we must immediately adopt to. And gathering and transforming huge volume of raw data, which is so valuable. What are the examples here? Drug shortage management. What best period? We have all just gone through COVID. So tocilizumab or remdesivir not being made available. We could have anticipated. We could have seen what the demand is coming up. Detection of certain conditions to predict adverse drug events. You are the best person. Sahib, हे फार्मास्युटिकलचं हे प्रोडक्ट दिल्यावर प्रॉब्लेम्स येतात. That is the first pattern recognition. Prediction of drug levels based on patient characteristic, and then identification of clinically beneficial pharmaceutical molecules. How will it influence the pharma industry on a larger scale? You know, if I ask you, what is the time and money required for a new drug to come in market? Any idea? Time and money. Minimum 20 years and minimum $10 billion. $2 to $10 billion. But you put AI behind, and AI analyzes the protein molecule chains. And then it guides you that probably these protein molecules are helpful. So there is a speculation that that 10-year period for a drug discovery will drop down to about 3 years. And one of the examples of this was the vaccines that we made at the time of COVID, when this particular thing was applied. How will it help you as a young pharmacist understanding, analyzing, computing, calculating, and predicting? All these things it will do. Now comes the risk. साला मेरा जॉब रहेगा के जाएगा? ये इतना सर बोल रहे, ये लोगों ने दिल पे लिया, तो दिल पे मत लो गुलशन. हाँ, दिल पे लिया और बोला कि साला 30 का लोग है, 10 में ही कन्वर्ट कर देंगे, तो मेरा जॉब रहेगा या जाएगा? So can AI take over pharmacists? So like other healthcare providers, artificial intelligence has the potential to make the jobs easier and better by automating administrative tasks and augmenting the patient care process. But one thing I must tell you, it is up to us to remain updated. मैं BBS 1983 में पास हो गया, MS 86 में पास हो गया, MCH 88 में पास हो गया, DNB 89 में पास हो गया, and then I acquired 17 postgraduate qualifications subsequently. But I think I learn every day on the chair. I have learned administration more than my college degrees on the chair of Nair Hospital and KEM Hospital and D.Y. Patil and Prince Ali. It teaches you. Even today, if I have to operate something which I am not a matter of routine surgery, which happens to me, on the earlier night, I go back to YouTube, I open the books and I refresh myself. If you get into a habit of refreshing yourself on a day-to-day basis, dear friends, no AI can ever replace you. You have to make efforts to step 2 steps ahead of it. If हम लोग बोले कि नहीं यार पढ़ा था, B.Pharm किया तभी नहीं, I think that's all gone. What probably you all learnt in your B.Pharm or D.Pharm is not the way that you are practicing pharmacy today. Things have changed. So that is why this care is for those who don't want to change. Otherwise, AI will not steal your job. The job may evolve. Its nature may differ. But you have to get adjusted to that. In inventory management for a retail pharmacist, AI will be a huge, huge boon, and it will reduce, it will augment the speed, it will reduce the inventory, and therefore the capital expense or the OPEX that is getting parked there will get less and less. These are practical examples. Wellness Forever is already with Blue Yonder, and Blue Yonder is a AI firm that is with Otto. Otto is one of the largest German chains. So Otto invited Blue Yonder, and I think we have been intelligent enough to involve them into our group. Another example, Walgreen Pharmacy, one of the most reputed international pharmacies. What they have done? They are with Medline. Medline is an AI system, partnership with Medline, and that changed these particular things. Let me give you one more example, and that is what happens by chatbot. ChatGPT or chatbot. This is something which is for all the youngsters to know. And the minute you go into a new thing, some comes, "Hi, I'm Mary, how can I help you?" Whether she really helps or not is a different issue. But you can engage yourself in a non-human interaction of thoughts as well as voice, and retail pharmacy finds its applications in chatbots. And you can imagine the questions. ये कौन सी दवा है? ये दवा आपके इधर अवेलेबल है क्या? इसकी क्या प्राइस है? And how best I can get it? कोई schemes है क्या? These are the very standard questions which will come in a consumer's mind. And why do you want to waste your active time in answering them? Have a chatbot or have a chat GPT answering these common questions. So chatbots can be used to increase the efficiency of the service industry. They are capable of mimicking the interactions between customers and customer care services. And they are capable of automatically resolving customer complaints and queries, because you can predict the customer's complaints and requirements there. Now, this comes from San Francisco Medical Center. Look at the pharmacy. Look at what Kavaljit has set up, except this. There is no human interaction to go and pick up the drug. It will be picked up by a robot. It will be then packed. 12 hourly patients' requirements are tabulated, and then they are moved into the concerned ward by a robotic driven van. So it becomes a completely human touchless activity. In the YouTubes, there's a wonderful YouTube which all of you should see, and that is titled as Future Hospitals. How tomorrow's hospitals will be. Whatever we are making today, we are still making age-old concepts, because we are not taking that random step of technology being put into practice. But you should see the future hospitals. It's a wonderful 2-minute 45 seconds YouTube over there, where you won't feel that this is a hospital at all. This is like a hotel or a cafeteria or a recreation center, or the appropriate word used in the YouTube is wellness center. So you must visit this YouTube, and then you will get how everything will be a pad-driven, phone-driven, and things like that. So now, let me show you a video clip of 4 minutes. Chemotherapy is a very important thing. It's expensive. It is dose regulated. Now it is patient specific. 2 patients may be having CA breast, but this one gets different drugs, this one gets different drugs. So it's a patient specific thing now that is being followed. So there is a system employed by Cairo where everything, right from picking up off the shelf, mixing the drug, forming an infusion, putting labels, and handing it over for patients is done by artificial intelligence. Let's look at the next slide. Okay, just see for 4 minutes. and the system is ready for the next one. So believe this. I had seen this 4 years ago in Dubai, in a health expo that happens. Don't feel that this is for West, this will not come to India. No. This will come. If laparoscopy could come, if robotics could come, and then we can swipe them out, this is not going to be impossible. So, therefore, I have a very standard, you wanted a one-liner. This is my most favorite one-liner. Future is yesterday. It has already happened. I am in slumber. And I'll give you examples. Handheld diagnostic devices. Gone are the days in 1988 when I used to draw 2 ml of blood from a newborn, send it to the lab, wait for something, drive Sakharam down to get the report of arterial blood gases, to find an acidosis, to give the right dose of soda mica. Gone. 1 drop of heel prick on the cartridge, and by the side of the baby, within 20 seconds, I get his ABG report. Handheld devices became a reality. Remote control diagnostics and therapeutics. You know, in surgery, the way it has become a joystick application to do a complex procedure. So robotic applications. Today, if you see at Thane and Pune, knee replacement has virtually become only robotic. Those who don't do robotic are out. So that is the role robotics are going to play in the next few years to come. Portability. Portable ultrasound. A handheld device of an ultrasound of the size of your mobile phone. When I was in Fortis admitted and I was on a ventilator in my COVID phase, Dr. Rahul Pandit, who was then the director of intensive care Fortis, used to come and do my ultrasound of my lungs to find out the pulmonary streaking almost on a day-to-day basis. In our country, we have not yet been able to allow it because of PCPNDT business. But a handheld ultrasound device, a handheld Doppler is already there. Probably you don't have a portable CT and an MR, but even that will happen in next future to come. So the key word is patient proximity. The best place for a patient to be in is his own home, whether it is hut or Antilia, whatever you may decide. But that's the best place where he should be. And if that is the best place, we should take the diagnostics, we should take the therapeutics, and we should take the drug dispensing proximate to the patient. But comes my last part. I had said, dare the AI, which we have done, but care for humanity. Because all these things, we must protect the human autonomy, promote the human interests. We should be transparent and explainability to the relatives, fostering accountability, ensuring inclusiveness, not for few people, but for masses. And then we must find out sustainable solutions. I started with wonders and wisdom. In medicine, one-line wonders or one-time wonders cannot really sustain. But wise things, the minute you employ wisdom to that intelligence, then it becomes a sustainable solution. So again, the question in the minds of many of you is that famous Augustine Rodin thinker, will AI replace me? The answer lies with you. And the answer lies in answering a question, who is taming whom? Kisne kiske gale mein patta bandha hai? That is the most important point. Let me give you a parallel example now. देखो, कुछ साल पहले we used to remember 6-digit telephone numbers of the office, of the home, of the wife, if not of the wife, of the girlfriend, definitely. Aaj, it is at times difficult for me to remember and reproduce my own phone number, forget the girlfriend. You know, why? Because I have loaned my memory to this. कौन याद रखेगा? Contact की list है ना अपनी. So that is what I have outsourced my memory. So a smart thing to do here is you use to boost your recall memory. But don't disturb the recall memory that you always have, that God has given you, that you have acquired in the process of evolution, which you learned in the 5th standard. So, therefore, in the summary at wellness, and this came from a TED talk given by Gulshan. We believe in giving 110% by using our next generation data architecture. We help individuals virtually manage agile workflows. That is what you all are. We thrive because of our market knowledge and great team behind our product. And as our directors say, efficiencies will come from proactively transforming how we do the business. And this is a very pet word and phrase of Gulshan, aspirational purchase. And I have liked that. So I have said, let the aspirations soar. So dear friends, you have Apple, you have Alexa, you have Amazon, you have artificial intelligence, and you have aerospace drones to distribute. But let your heart beat for the common man in the street. Thank you.